This is Matthew Kratter's Bitcoin University. Today I want to talk about the best hardware wallet in Bitcoin, which is, I think, the SeedSigner. And I've been recently moving my cold storage setup away from Coldcard, which I've been using for years after rediscovering the SeedSigner project. So I'm moving everything onto SeedSigner. I built my first SeedSigner a few years ago, but I never really used it, and I always considered the project to be just for those people who couldn't really afford an expensive commercial hardware wallet like the Coldcard. But in retrospect, I could not have been more wrong because SeedSigner is a world-class project. It's used by many Bitcoin OGs. I'm always surprised when I talk to some of these people to find that they're using SeedSigner. I assume they would, having a lot of money, be using very expensive hardware wallets, but instead they use this do-it-yourself project, which I think is really cool. And SeedSigner is a world-class project. It's firmly in the cypherpunk tradition. It's do-it-yourself. You build it from components. It's free and open source. You can verify everything yourself, and it's censorship resistant because a SeedSigner is built from commonly available parts like the Raspberry Pi Zero. These used to be really cheap before COVID. You could get them for about $5, but now they're a little bit more expensive, but still, once you assemble one of these, the parts are really not that expensive. So this is what it looks like. This is what the SeedSigner looks like, and you can actually print your own case or buy a case. If you have a 3D printer, they're free files available. All you really need is a Raspberry Pi Zero, and you want to get one that doesn't have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth as well. And then you get a Waveshare LCD, a little camera module, and then you just need a micro SD card that you can use Balena Etcher to flash the operating system, the firmware, onto a micro SD card, and then you just boot it up. So I'll put a link to all this in the description notes below. I would recommend when you buy a Raspberry Pi Zero, make sure you get it with the GPIO pins, unless you know how to solder and you like soldering. This will make your life a lot easier. And I'll put a link as well. This has all the hardware. This is the SeedSigner, the free site, and it has a link to places where you can buy these various components, as well as the store that is created by the founder of this project, who goes by a name. His name is Seed, BTC Hardware Solutions. So I'd encourage you to check that out. And you can buy some components with using Bitcoin as well on one of his sites. Now, I think the safest thing to do is to buy these components separately from different merchants and then assemble them. But Seed and some of these other groups also offer very nice kits if you want to do that as well. I think that's safe to do because it doesn't ship with the firmware. You're going to flash that. But the other thing you could do is, for example, you could buy everything from Seed and his online store. I'm not being paid or compensated in any way to recommend it. And this, again, this is not a large commercial project. This is a shoestring project, and the guys on it, like Seed, and the other people are working really hard. So I like to support them. One thing you can do is buy their kit, and then just don't use the Raspberry Pi. Just use the other components, and you can buy a really nice case from them as well. And then just get your Raspberry Pi somewhere else. But this has links to all the hardware you're going to need, and you should also follow Seed on X because he really does have the open source cypherpunky ethos about everything that he posts. I also put a link to this as well. If you end up getting a Raspberry Pi that has Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on it, this will show you the very schematics, so you can go in there and knock out the Wi-Fi piece, because this is to be used in a completely air-gapped manner. You basically use it with QR codes, and that's what that LCD screen is for. Now, because the SeedSigner uses generic commodity hardware, as we said, it allows you to bypass a lot of risks. For example, the risk of ending up on a list of Bitcoiners just because you bought a hardware wallet and the company you bought it from, like Ledger, was completely irresponsible, and as a result your name and home address get leaked on the internet, end up on the dark web, which can be quite dangerous because people are really incentivized. If they know that you bought a hardware wallet, they know there's probably Bitcoin. Your private keys are probably sitting somewhere in your house. This is what happened to Ledger, and they've had just leak after leak after leak. Coldcard claims to delete its customer list, unlike Ledger, which Coldcard probably does. But to be fair, I'd rather not have to trust this guy with anything. NVK. Controversial opinion, he writes here, the Bitcoin plebs never mattered. The grifters will always grift. So unfortunately, he's also appears to be friends with some of these grifters. So I'm trying to move away from Coldcard for that reason as well. But the reality is, even if NVK were an angel, SeedSigner project is just better, in my opinion. SeedSigner is also a great way to avoid the risks that come with using a secure element. Secure element is just the chip or chips inside of the hardware wallet that stores your seed, your private key material, and helps to slow down the exfiltration of it if someone were to get physical possession of your hardware wallet. And I think the biggest problem with these secure elements, I've come to realize, is that they're a giant black box. They're almost always closed source and thus impossible to audit, so you really have to end up trusting them. And I think it's easy to foresee a long-range attack that includes rugging a lot of Bitcoiners all at once by sweeping their Bitcoin, which has been leaked by a closed source secure chip or even a random number generator that is not producing truly random private keys, but instead is using some existing list that the parent hardware company knows and then can eventually look at those Bitcoin addresses, and if they have your seed, they can sweep them eventually. So there is a good chance that this is happening. I'm not saying it's happening with Coldcard, but it's a good chance this is happening in the ecosystem. And SeedSigner basically sidesteps this problem by making the device what's called stateless. In other words, when you unplug it, it completely wipes all the data that is on it. And this really helps you to focus on your private keys and how you're going to store them and your backups, etc. Now, I've been using cold cards for many years without a problem, so this video is not intended to panic anyone. If you've been using a cold card and your Bitcoin hasn't been swept, it's quite likely you are fine. And so I'm not trying to panic anyone, but I would like to make an in-depth video about CoinKite and NVK to expose him and his alleged horrendous behavior over the past few years, but he is notoriously litigious, so I will probably hold off for now. I'm fighting enough battles for one summer. What I would suggest, however, is to make your next hardware wallet a SeedSigner. And I've been building them. I've got about 5 or 6 around the house now. I've become obsessed with it. It's something very nice about spending a lot of time online to then get your hands busy and do a do-it-yourself project. And they're very fun to build, and my kids have had fun building them as well. So just buy the parts, play around with them over the weekend, get familiar with this project. You can keep using your cold card, but I think this is an important project, an important skill for all Bitcoiners to develop. And I have to say, it's also extremely satisfying to hold the finished product, and also to know if you ever find yourself in a country where it's illegal or impossible to get a hardware wallet. We don't know what's going to happen in the US in 2028. You now have the skills to build your own. So I'd say this is actually, SeedSigner is an essential project for the ecosystem. And it's also learning how to build and use them is an essential survival skill that all Bitcoiners should practice. Another great thing about the SeedSigner is because it doesn't have a secure element, as I said, it really forces you to think and rethink your seed backups, your 12 or 24 words, and where you store them. I should mention I use SeedSigner with multisig, I think, which makes sense for public Bitcoiners, and it's absolutely fantastic and seamless for multisig. I like it even more than Coldcard when it comes to multisig. So it's really been an easy transition for me. But the SeedSigner, because it doesn't have a secure element and store your private key material, really forces you to rethink and think about your seed backups, where you store them, and also how you might travel with them if you ever need to leave your country. The Border Wallets project is a great one to look at for that reason. If you don't want to have to memorize 24 words, this is an interesting project, which I'll make a video about when I have a chance. Now, one problem is NVK has spent many years trying to scare people about do-it-yourself wallets like the SeedSigner, but I do think his concerns are misplaced and ultimately, in my opinion, put forward in bad faith. We've seen this sort of behavior where someone, I suspect it's NVK, has been basically domain squatting, buying all these SeedSigner domains and then redirecting them to this website, airgapcomputer.com, where he tries to scare people about using a general computer or a Raspberry Pi as a hardware wallet. And that originally worked on me. I was scared away by that. But then I've begun to realize, with the help of some Bitcoin OGs, that this is not something to worry about. And this is actually a pretty bad behavior on the part of whoever is doing these redirects. Ghost of Unhosted Marcellus has been really helpful reading the stuff he's written online. He says another way to see, so there's this idea of side channel attacks, and what he basically points out is if NVK really thinks that the SeedSigner is subject to side channel attacks, he could just make a video and show everyone how it's done. But these sort of concerns are misplaced. And Ghost posted an exchange he had with someone basically talking about some of these issues. So I wanted to read this quickly. And he also linked, I'll put a link to this. There's a pretty funny video of John McAfee in his Faraday cage. He's basically, this is the ultimate tinfoil hat stuff, where he's covered the entire room with aluminum foil to keep radio signals and other listening devices from being able to do any sort of side channel attack. So check that out. Faraday cages are real. They're not tinfoil hat. But basically, here's what Ghost posted. It's true that a general purpose hardware that is not specifically designed to do cryptographic operations might leak sensitive information via side channels such as noise or electromagnetic fields. And again, this is only a problem while you're using the SeedSigner. It's not a problem when you power it off because nothing is stored on there. Ghost goes on to write, now, why I still like the SeedSigner and use it myself despite this, it's simply not part of my threat model. To defend myself against an FBI van parked next door snooping on the electromagnetic frequencies leaving my home, I consider NVK a fudster in this regard. The threat is further minimized if you assemble your device from parts instead of signing up for the delivery of a Bitcoin-specific gadget to your home address, and use geographically distributed multisig, which the SeedSigner handles really well, and that's definitely true. Now, if you do consider this threat seriously, this threat of side channel attacks, you can just build yourself a Faraday cage and use the SeedSigner safely inside of it. So you could take a closet, put aluminum foil all over it. I really don't think this is a risk. You can always just look out your window when you're working on your hardware wallet and see if there's a van parked there. Also, even security hardware can fail spectacularly. The whole field is a snake oil mall. At the end of the day, it's impossible to do don't trust verify against those chips. You either trust without any real proof that they actually protect you, or you don't and you build the Faraday cage. So what Ghost is saying here, there's similar threats with the cold cards. So if you're going to be worrying about this, you should build yourself a Faraday cage in your closet for your cold card as well as your SeedSigner, in which case you might as well just use a SeedSigner. Another way I think about this threat is a targeted attack. If you're being actively targeted without you being aware, your chances are very slim to begin with. For example, when Luke Dasher had his Bitcoin stolen, and there's a whole story there which I've never really gotten to the bottom of, but there are people like Giacomo Zucco who have written on X that he had his Bitcoin stolen by some Bitcoin Core devs. So keep that in mind when people make fun of Luke for supposedly losing his Bitcoin. It's very likely he was the victim of a targeted attack. Ghost goes on to write, what I mean is if there are actually 3 ex-military guys in a van right now outside my home trying to snoop on my radio frequencies with expensive equipment that are really invested in getting after my Bitcoin, a security element, the secure element inside the hardware wallet won't stop them from everything they will try on me. So I think that's a good summary. You'll have to do your own research and think through these issues yourself. But unless you're really at the level of being targeted by intel agencies personally, I think you will be fine. And as Ghost writes there, a cold card's not going to save you if you're the target of the FBI or CIA or Mossad. Now, if you have middle-aged eyes like me, I would suggest building the SeedSigner Plus instead of the SeedSigner. They both use Raspberry Pis, but the SeedSigner Plus has a larger screen and a larger pill enclosure. And Seed made a video here where he shows you how to build it. So this is all free tutorials. I thought this was a good video, so I'll put a link to it in the description notes below. You should also subscribe to his YouTube channel. And then, of course, BTC Sessions has a great tutorial as well, how to build this SeedSigner. I can't remember if he builds the large one, the Plus, or the small one in here. And he shows you how to link it with Sparrow Wallet, which is how I've been using it. So definitely check out all those free resources. SeedSigner is a really fun project, and I actually just covered it on the paid side of things at my website, bitcoinuniversity.com. I did a 2-hour class on SeedSigner Cold Card and all these issues with hardware wallets. So if you want to go even further down the rabbit hole, I'll put a link to that in the description notes below. But definitely encourage you to play around with SeedSigner. Very fun project, very satisfying, and I think it's the best Bitcoin wallet in the world today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the subscribe and like buttons. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.